In January 2018, I received a vision during a time of worship in Succat Hallel, and I saw Jesus sitting as the Lion of Judah on a throne above the Temple Mount. And he was very majestic, very in control, and he was watching as thousands and tens of thousands of demons were building very hard to make highways to come against Jerusalem. And they came from many places and many directions. He showed me many highways, but there were three that in recent months the Lord has highlighted. And when the Lion of Judah roared over these highways, the demons were thrown into confusion. The highways began falling apart, and there was a severe delay, a severe setback to Satan's plans. Now, there's a time, according to Bible prophecy, when the nations will come against Jerusalem. It's important that we as intercessors say, Lord, what is the time now? What season are we in right now? Yes. And I felt the Lord showed these demonic highways that were being built and were converging upon Jerusalem from many nations. But he said, it's not yet the time for this. And he roared, and it delayed. It did not stop it, but it set it back severely. It really delayed the demonic plans. And so I felt God was saying through that, he wanted to give a window of mercy, not just to Israel, but to the whole Middle East, which of course affects the other nations as well. So in this call to prayer that we put out this last week, we encourage Christians to be aware that something very, very special has been happening in northeast Syria. Out of that terrible war there, this region of northeast Syria has formed its own administrative government. And it includes an openness for Christians to be part of the government, for women to be part of the government. It's very different from what you usually have in the Middle East.
Yes, and Kurdish people.
Yeah, and Kurdish people are very much part of that as well. So it's amazing that this has happened. And it has been kind of a surprise development. But most of the world is not even aware that this has happened there. Suddenly, the Lord began to draw our attention to that area, and especially when President Trump announced that they would withdraw all American troops, immediately Turkey invaded into a city called Prin in northern Syria, and there was a killing of Kurds, a killing of Christians, and Turkey was threatening to come against this area of northeast Syria. At the same time, there were other threats about that area by the Russians who were wanting to work through Assad's regime to have control there, and saying they wanted no other troops to be there. And at the same time, then Iran was saying they wanted to have their people be able to come through it. It was very obvious. They said they wanted to make a land bridge from Iran all the way back to Israel. But to do that, they would need to be able to pass through northern Iraq and northeastern Syria, on down into Lebanon and here. It was exactly what I'd seen in the vision, which was a demonic highway from Turkey, a demonic highway from Russia, a demonic highway from Iran. And so we felt when these threats started coming out, we felt we needed to call a fast, because in the time of Queen Esther, when it looked like the Jewish people were going to be all killed, she asked people to pray and fast for 3 days with her, and then she went into the king, and he actually said, we can write a new decree that will reverse the decree for all the Jews to be killed. Haman was exposed and hung on his own gallows that he had prepared. So what we felt was to call people to pray that, as in the days of Esther, there would be a change of the decree over this area, a modification. Already, while we've been praying in this way, President Trump announced, well, we may leave a small number of American troops there. Even that would be a big deterrent to keep Turkey or Iran from coming in and killing all the Christians and the Kurds. And the Kurdish people many feel are the ancient Medes of the Bible. And there's something, as they are coming forth into more freedom, they want to establish relationship with Israel. They are much more open to the gospel. The Holy Spirit is moving in these Kurdish areas very strongly. So we feel they're very key for the Middle East. They're very key for the protection of Israel, because it is the Kurds who stood so strongly against ISIS.
Yes.
They were the main ones to help drive ISIS out at a great cost.
Yes.
So we're encouraging those who are members of NATO or related in any way to put pressure and to pray for their leaders, that America and NATO would do something to protect the Kurdish people and protect the Christians of this area, that they not be killed. And we believe that's very important for the purposes of God for the Middle East. It's very important to protect Israel, because if Iran does not have that land bridge, it will be much more difficult for them to attack Israel. But it's also important for what's happening with you in Eastern Europe, because it has an effect. What happens in this area of Syria and Turkey has a great effect upon Eastern Europe.
Alpha, Omega.